Everyone thought Grace Fountain Church was perfect. The building was beautiful. The people were important. The services were peaceful. But nobody knew that not everyone sitting on those soft chairs was human. In the middle of the town stood a very big and beautiful church. Everyone knew this church. People called it Grace Fountain Cathedral. It was not just a church. It was a landmark. When people gave directions in town, they often said, "Turn left after Grace Fountain Church." The building was tall and shiny. The chairs were soft. The sound system was perfect. The air conditioners were always on. There were cameras everywhere. The floors were always clean, and the ushers wore neat uniforms with gentle smiles. Everything in the church was well organized. Important people loved this church. Business owners came. Politicians came. Doctors came. Lawyers came. Bank managers came. Even celebrities came. On Sundays, expensive cars filled the parking lot. Security men stood outside, guiding cars and greeting people politely. Inside, the church felt calm, gentle, and comfortable. People said, "This church is classy." Others said, "This church suits people like us." The pastor of Grace Fountain Cathedral was called Pastor Daniel Bright. He was very popular. Pastor Daniel spoke very well. He preached messages that made people feel good. His sermons were smooth and gentle. He did not shout too much. He did not talk about sin too strongly. He focused more on success, blessings, favor, and happiness. People loved him. When Pastor Daniel preached, people clapped. When he joked, people laughed. When he smiled, people smiled back. Services always ended on time. Nobody felt uncomfortable. Nobody felt corrected. Nobody felt challenged. After service, people took pictures with Pastor Daniel and posted them online with captions like, "Blessed to be in church today. My pastor is the best." The church grew very fast. But deep inside, something was missing. The church looked alive on the outside, but the fire of prayer was slowly dying on the inside. One Monday morning, a letter came from the church headquarters. It said Pastor Daniel had been transferred to another branch of the church in a smaller town. The leaders announced it on Sunday. The church was quiet. People were shocked. Some people were angry. Some people were confused. Some people were sad. Why will they remove our pastor? This church will never be the same again. That other branch is lucky. Pastor Daniel smiled and waved on his last Sunday. He told the church not to worry and that God was in control. After he left, a new pastor was sent. His name was Pastor Elijah Stone. Pastor Elijah was different, very different. He was not as flashy. He was not as smooth. He was not as entertaining. He spoke slowly. He prayed deeply. He loved silence. He loved prayer meetings. From the first Sunday, people noticed the difference. Pastor Elijah talked about repentance. He talked about holiness. He talked about prayer. He talked about living a clean life. Some people felt uncomfortable. Week by week, the church started changing. The crowd reduced. Some big people stopped coming. Some families quietly left. Some choir members disappeared. Some leaders resigned without explanation. People started talking. This pastor is too serious. Church is no longer enjoyable. I don't feel comfortable anymore. The spirit here has changed. Yes, the spirit had changed. Fire had returned. One Sunday morning, the church was half full. The choir sang. The offering was collected. Then Pastor Elijah climbed the altar. Instead of preaching, he said calmly, "Today we will pray." The church became quiet. He began to pray slowly. As he prayed, his voice became stronger. Suddenly, something strange happened. The women fellowship leader, a respected woman named Madame Rose, stood up. Her hands were shaking. She began to cry loudly. People were confused. Before anyone could stop her, she shouted, "I cannot bear it anymore." Everyone turned to look at her. She walked forward, trembling. Then she spoke words that froze the entire church. "I am the leader of a coven," she said. The church gasped. People covered their mouths. "I have always been a witch," she continued. "I did not come to church to serve God. I came to quench the fire of pastors." People were shaking. She cried harder. "No matter how anointed a pastor is," she said, "my members and I turn him into an ordinary man. We use gifts, praise, eye service, and approval. When a pastor loves approval more than prayer, his fire dies." People began to cry. She continued, "When the fire dies, the church becomes comfortable. Any kind of person or spirit can stay. That is when we operate freely." She screamed and fell on the floor. The church was in chaos. Before anyone could recover, a young lady from the choir stood up. She was very beautiful. Many men admired her. She was always in front when singing. She walked forward slowly, crying. "Please forgive me," she said. "I am not human." The church gasped again. "I am a mermaid," she confessed. "I was sent from the spirit world to distract men with beauty. I make them fall into sin and steal their destinies." People were crying loudly now. "I was assigned to this church because it was cold," she said. "But this fire is too hot. I cannot stay." She fell down crying. Then another person stood. Then another. Then another. Some confessed to manipulation. Some confessed to monitoring. Some confessed to distraction. Some confessed to spiritual assignments. It looked like a drama, but it was real. The presence of God filled the church. Pastor Elijah stood calmly. He raised his hands and prayed. With authority, he commanded every unclean spirit to leave. People screamed. Some fell down. Some cried. Some shouted. Then suddenly peace came. The air felt clean. The church felt light. Pastor Elijah spoke softly. "Do not be surprised. When a church becomes cold, it becomes a resting place for strange things. Fire drives darkness away. Discernment protects God's people. Not everyone you see in church is aligned with God." The people understood. That day they realized why many people had left. The fire had returned, and only those who loved God stayed. A church is not just a building. It is a spiritual place. When prayer dies, anything can enter. When fire burns, darkness cannot stay. God is not looking for comfort. He is looking for hearts on fire. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe to this channel for more powerful, life-changing Christian stories. God bless you.